The studio lights were blinding, but the tension in the room was even sharper. This wasn't just another televised panel. This was a collision course. Donald Trump had agreed to appear for what producers called a civic leadership roundtable. Jasmine Crockett was the only member of Congress on the guest list. The producers said they wanted a substantive conversation. But anyone who had watched these broadcasts before knew what to expect: a carefully choreographed ambush, one way or another. From the moment they were seated, Trump dominated the room. Loud, gesturing, interrupting. He treated the stage like a campaign rally. Jasmine sat silently at first. She had heard it all before. The barbs about the radical left. The jokes about woke culture. The self-congratulation about jobs, taxes, and border walls. But what Trump didn't expect, what he never saw coming, was that Jasmine wasn't there to spar. She was there to reveal. About 20 minutes into the broadcast, the host turned to Jasmine and said, "Congresswoman Crockett, you've been quiet. How do you respond to what President Trump just said?" Jasmine looked directly at Trump. She said, "I think the American people deserve more than slogans. They deserve truth. And since we're talking about leadership, maybe we should talk about character. Not what someone claims, but what someone hides." Trump shifted slightly in his seat. He said, "What's that supposed to mean?" Jasmine didn't flinch. She said, "I'm talking about what you don't mention on stages like this. The lawsuits, the sealed settlements, the charity you were forced to shut down, the university fraud, the hush money payments, the non-disclosure agreements, the businesses that collapsed while you walked away richer, and the people, the workers, who were never paid." The audience went completely silent. Trump tried to speak, but she continued, "You talk about law and order, but you've been sued more times than some entire cities. You say you love veterans, but you took money from a charity meant for them. You say you're a patriot, but when it was time to serve, you got 5 deferments." Trump raised his hand. "That's enough." But Jasmine said, "No. What's enough is pretending this is normal. What's enough is letting you rewrite history in front of cameras. What's enough is calling yourself a victim while burying the people you stepped on to climb the ladder." Trump's mouth opened, but no words came out. Now, before you see what happens next, and I promise you, even the control room didn't see this coming, I need you to understand why this moment matters. Because what Jasmine did wasn't just bold. It was necessary. And the media gatekeepers? They don't want you to hear this part. They'll edit it. They'll clip it. They'll bury it. So if you believe in seeing the moments they try to erase, the ones that threaten powerful people the most, then hit subscribe right now. Subscribe before this disappears. Because what Jasmine says next doesn't just make Trump stumble. It makes him collapse. Trump leaned toward the moderator, his tone urgent now. This is supposed to be a discussion, not a smear campaign. Jasmine turned to him calmly. She said, "A smear is when you lie. I've listed documented facts, court records, legal filings, sworn testimony. If you want to refute them, do it. But don't insult the public by pretending they never happened." The moderator shifted uncomfortably. He tried to redirect. "Let's get back to policy." But Trump was flustered. He said, "You're obsessed with me. You liberals can't talk about anything else." Jasmine's voice was steady. She said, "I'm not obsessed with you. I'm appalled by you. And I'm tired of this country treating corruption like charisma." There was a murmur in the crowd. Trump snapped, "You think you're perfect? You've never made mistakes." Jasmine didn't hesitate. "I've made plenty. But I've never bankrupted small businesses, misused a foundation, or lied under oath. And I've never mocked a disabled reporter, encouraged violence at rallies, or stood on a debate stage and refused to condemn white supremacy." The air thickened. Trump's expression hardened. He said, "I was president. I led the greatest economy in history." Jasmine replied, "And then you left it in ashes. 1 million dead from COVID. Chaos in the streets. And on January 6th, you didn't just watch the violence. You summoned it." Trump banged his hand on the table. "I never." But Jasmine spoke over him. "You said, stand back and stand by. You said, We love you. You're very special. And when the Capitol was under attack, you waited. You watched. The moderator's voice cracked slightly. We're going to a break. But even as the screen faded to black, the tension remained. Because in that room, everyone knew. Jasmine Crockett hadn't just confronted Donald Trump. She had cornered him, and he had no idea how to escape. The break ended, but the atmosphere hadn't changed. Trump was quieter now, but his silence wasn't peace. It was calculation. Jasmine adjusted her mic, eyes steady. The moderator asked gently, Congresswoman, some critics would say this was personal, that it crossed a line. Jasmine didn't blink. She said, you don't get to lie to the country for years and then call it personal when someone tells the truth. Trump leaned forward, voice low but sharp. You don't belong here. Jasmine smiled faintly. That's the story, isn't it? That people like me don't belong in rooms like this. That when we speak with force, it's aggression. When we name injustice, it's disrespect. But I was elected. I earned my seat. I belong here. She turned to the audience. And the question is, why are we still pretending that he does? Trump's face flushed. You don't scare me. Jasmine said, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to hold you accountable. The moderator tried again. Mr. Trump, is there anything you'd like to say in response? Trump reached for his prepared notes, but his hands trembled slightly. The page fluttered. He looked at Jasmine and said, You think you're some kind of hero? She answered softly, No, just someone who tells the truth, even when it's inconvenient. Especially then. For the first time in the segment, the audience didn't know how to react. There was no cheer, no applause, only the sound of someone seeing clearly. Because what had just happened wasn't a debate. It was an unmasking. Trump looked down for a moment, his shoulders slightly hunched. The notes on his lap now felt useless. Because no bullet point could undo what had just been said. No rehearsed line could rebuild what had just cracked. He looked back at Jasmine, who hadn't flinched once. Trump said, You think you're better than me. Jasmine said, No, I think I'm more honest than you. And I think that terrifies you. The moderator tried once more to pivot. We want to end with a moment of unity. Something both of you agree on. There was a long silence. Trump stared blankly. Jasmine turned to the camera. She said, I believe in America. I believe it can be better. But it starts with truth. It starts with accountability. And it starts with not letting power protect itself through silence. Trump tried to cut in. This is all a witch hunt. Jasmine looked at him and said, No, this is daylight. And some people just aren't used to it. The host gave a nervous smile. We're out of time. Jasmine stood, not with drama, but with certainty. She nodded once to the crowd, then walked off the stage. Trump remained seated. The lights still bright, the cameras still rolling, and the weight of unspoken truths still settling around him like dust after a collapse. And that's what it was. Not a debate, not a takedown, but a collapse. Of the illusion, of the performance, of the silence that once protected him. And it all happened because one woman chose not to blink.